my name is Amanda with Josh's Frogs, and this is Tina, who is also my mom. And we're here to make cakes today, suet cake.
That's right.
What is a suet cake and who eats it?
Well, a suet cake is typically, traditionally, suet, which is a beef fat that you get from the butcher. You could still get it prepackaged in some big box stores. You would take it home, you would heat it up in a pot or a pan, and you would render all of the fat. Birds eat it. Here in the north, the types of birds that we have that stay all winter long that would eat suet would be members of the woodpecker family, northern flickers, chickadees, nuthatches, that type of bird. They stay all winter long, and they'll eat it all winter.
So it's pretty fattening.
It is fattening. It is fattening.
Why is that important?
Well, there's 4 basic ingredients. 2 of the main ingredients to suet that we're going to use today is the most common is some type of a vegetable shortening or lard, or if you really want to go through and render beef suet, you can do that, which is obviously high in fat because it's like pure fat. Then we have peanut butter. I buy the store brand peanut butter. I prefer crunchy. Birds love peanuts. It's more protein, so why not? It's better for creamy, for them than creamy, more protein. And then those are the 2 main ingredients. From there, you can add cornmeal, and I like to add oats. The reason you need all that fat is because it's very cold outside, obviously in the wintertime, and birds burn through a lot of energy 24 hours, 7 days a week. From the first snowfall, they pretty much don't get warmed up again until spring comes. So it's not like us where we go outside and snow blow or shovel, and we're all bundled up and we go in and warm up and have a cup of hot cocoa. A bird is stuck 24/7 outside, so they burn a tremendous amount of calories keeping warm, even while they're sleeping, when they're roosting in the evening or during the night. So they need that fat. It's a matter of survival for them. So I wouldn't worry about the fat with the birds. The more the better. They don't get cholesterol problems, stuff like that, like we do, so it's not a concern.
Cool. Well, do you want to get started?
Yeah, let's get started. So the first thing we have here again is the fat portion, which is, this time I use vegetable shortening. You can buy store brand shortening. You don't need to, buy expensive brands or anything.
And we're just going to mix it right up in this mixer. It will get pretty thick, so mixing it by hand will get kind of strenuous if you try that.
So yeah, you can mix it by hand.
Yeah.
There's really not a lot of mixing involved. We just are basically using the mixer to just do a very quick incorporation of the ingredients. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to pulverize it. You're not whipping whipped cream or anything like that. It's very quick, short bursts. Okay, so we have that, and 2 cups of vegetable shortening and 2 cups of peanut butter. So here's your peanut butter, crunchy peanut butter.
And we'll put this recipe in the description in the video too.
That's a little harder to get out. Very sticky.
Yes.
Now I would turn it on and just do a quick, short couple of bursts to get it incorporated. So now we're going to add 2 cups of cornmeal, and it's just regular cornmeal, nothing fancy about it. Shake it all in there. That helps to bind it together and make it a little bit less sticky. And again, just a short time. There you go. I would turn it up just a little bit to get a real good mix going. There you go. That's just as quick as that. And the next ingredient would be oats. This is just normal store-bought oats that you would eat for breakfast. 2 cups of those. What this is going to do is going to help bind the suet together. It's going to absorb some of the fat.
I'm going to incorporate these while the mixer's on, just because
it's
going to add a lot of thickness to it.
You probably want to take time to scrape it down, scrape down the side of the bowl. Usually you can get. And you don't have to be really careful. It's not an exact science, and it's not like we're baking a real cake where measurements matter, and you have to be more careful. This is not the case. So you can be sloppy and messy, and it's okay. The birds will still love it. Okay, so now this is your basic recipe. From this point on, it's really up to you what to add. Some of the things that you can add are dried fruit, raisins. We have woodpecker mix that we're going to be using today. What a woodpecker mix is, if you don't know, it's a bag of bird food that you can buy in the bird food section of the big box stores. It's usually a mix of peanuts, sunflower seeds. I have some here that has some raisins in it and some dried fruit. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Variety of different peanuts and nuts. And this is, birds love this, and it's high in protein too, so again, it'll give them that energy that they need. So we have 2 cups of woodpecker mix. Now I would highly recommend keeping that on low, or else we're gonna have a explosion of nuts all over the place. So just real slow, you just wanna mix it so it's just mixed in.
And it's similar to adding chocolate chips or fruit to like a cookie recipe.
Yeah.
You don't want to pulverize them, so just kind of mix it up to incorporate it, and don't go too far. So what else can you add to this?
Well, again, you can add some of the things that I mentioned earlier. Dried fruit's a good one. Woodpeckers love that. Because I work at Josh's Frogs, we have access to a lot of things. One of the things we do have that we have access to are dehydrated blue bottle fly spikes or larvae.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is, people who have animals, reptiles and things like that are familiar with that. But I found out that they are high in calcium. And
why is that so important?
Well, it's important to birds. Birds need the calcium to build strong bones. Also, females need it for egg laying in the spring. It helps the shell form properly and be strong when they do lay eggs in the spring. So, but and the young need it too. For bone development, just like humans do. Calcium is very important to humans too. So, and it is to birds. Plus, there's protein in these. So it looks a little gross. But it's to birds, it's like Thanksgiving dinner. They'll love it. So go ahead and add those in.
And these are delicate too, so same thing. You can mix them in, or you could even mix them in with the spatula because you don't want to pulverize them.
But I mean, if you break them up, it's okay. So it's not a problem. It's just the calcium's getting into the mix, so it's fine. There you go. That looks good. We also, here at Josh's Frogs, carry dehydrated mealworms, and this is probably an insect that most bird watchers are familiar with. I know I bought them over the internet years ago and fed live ones to bluebirds in the spring, which was, that was interesting. They're wiggly, hard to keep in place. But what we have dehydrated ones here. So these are very high in protein. Again, I'm not going to add them here, but you can add them if you wish, and we do have them available here at Josh's Frogs.
And we'll link to both of those products right in the description box for you guys.
Mm-hmm. So if you want to go ahead and take the paddle off, and we can show you, scrape it all down, get all of those delicious morsels. The birds will love it. Clean this up. So scrape the sides down. Make sure everything's incorporated. You always get that little bit on the bottom that doesn't mix in. Go ahead and mix it. Now, it won't be too overly sticky. That's the good thing about adding the cornmeal. It helps with that.
So now that we have it all mixed up, what can we do with it?
Well, we can do a couple of different things based on how you want to feed the birds. We're going to show you how to make it into suet cakes, just like the ones you buy in the store, but this is way more economical. Initial investment of 4 or 5 different ingredients. You can the store brands again. It's not that expensive versus buying the individual suet cakes in the store already made, which are can be quite expensive.
Yeah.
So let's start with making a suet squares. So what you need is an 8x8 pan. For this particular recipe, you've made enough to fit in an 8x8 pan. So just like this, very cheap. I think we can get this at our local Walmart for like 89 cents or something.
Very
really
cheap.
cheap. You can buy one and just have it, just for suet. Parchment paper. I say parchment paper because things don't stick to parchment paper, and this is sticky stuff. So make it really easy. What we're going to do is just going to put the pan right on top of the parchment paper. You want to draw the bottom on the parchment paper. Nothing too technical, just very quickly. And then just cut the square out. Now this is important. You can skip this step, but you might have a hard time getting the suet out of the pan later after we freeze it. So this just makes things a lot simpler and easier on you later. We're going to put that in the bottom of the pan, like so.
Fits perfectly.
So what you want to do is you want to actually tilt this over and dump it into the square pan. That way, hold down the parchment paper. There you go, good. So now, I would use your spatula. Can I show you?
Yep.
Okay, so here's what we're going to use the spatula. A silicone spatula, because again, this stuff is sticky. You're just going to push it down. It's not an exact science. We're just making bird food here. Just try to get it into the corners. Push it down. And here's where I like to use that goofy little knife that you got with your flatware set and you never use. Well, here's a great job for this knife. Or if you have an offset spatula. Whoop, we're going to put that back in because every little piece is important. So this is perfect. Try to smooth it down as best as you can. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. You just want it pretty smooth and even. No high spots. Perfect. And this, the amount that we used of each ingredient, again, fits perfectly into an 8x8 pan. This is what we're going to cut into squares so we can put it in our suet basket. What you're going to do right now is cover it up and put it in the freezer. I'm not going to cover it because this is for demonstration purposes, but I'm going to put it in the freezer.
And you want to make sure that you mark it when you put it in the freezer, because we made these growing up all the time. And one time my cousin ate it because he thought it looked like a dessert. So make sure you mark it.
It does look like a dessert. It looks like a peanut butter
And it
bar,
smells like peanut butter too.
It smells delicious, actually, but
Yeah.
Yuck with those
Gross.
insects in it. Oh, yeah. Ugh. Yeah, we don't want to do that. So now we're going to cut it. And I brought my handy dandy tool. You don't need a handy dandy tool. You can easily use a knife. Be careful. So what you want to do, and this is the suet basket, what you want to do is cut around. You could do this with a sharp knife. Cut around the edges to make sure that they are pulled away from the sides of the pan. You only have to worry about the sides, which is why we use the parchment paper on the bottom, so we won't have trouble with that. If you do have trouble with it releasing, don't worry about it. Just go ahead and let it warm up for a minute and see. I'm flipping it around and it's already flopping out. So let's grab some more parchment paper.
Little piece of parchment paper, very handy stuff. I never bake without it, whether I'm making bird cakes or people cakes. Flip it, and ta-da, look at that.
Nice.
Nice, and here's where you get sued up your fingernail trying to peel it back. Peel back the parchment paper, dispose of it. So, we're gonna get this into that. Now what we're going to do is an 8x8 pan, if you're using it, we're going to cut it into 4s. It doesn't have to be the same size as the basket. You may have a different size basket. You may have, you just
make it fit.
Right, just make it fit. It doesn't have to be perfect. Again, the birds don't care. Now I'm just going to cut this right down the middle. And then I'm going to cut it down the middle again. And it also helps when it's frozen because it is a sticky mess. So now you just pick one up and you can go ahead and get that up your fingernails. I'll just watch you. And then here you go. Excellent. And you hang this outside and close to a window because you'll really want to see the birds that come eat that.
Awesome.
It's a great way to watch away the
Yes.
long, cold winter, especially here in Michigan. The winters are long and cold.
So I know you can put it in this basket, but I remember doing something else when I was a kid.
You do, and you did that at my house because I'm also her mother.
Yes.
So we worked together and we did live together, but we did make suet when you were a child, and we're going to do it a little differently because I did not have a suet basket. I had a suet log. So we're going to show you how to do that. So now we have another option. If you don't have a suet basket and you don't want to cut it into squares and go through all that, you can use a suet log. Now this is what we used when you were small.
This suet log is almost as old as I am.
This is my suet log. This is my real log I've used year after year, and they last for a very long time. And simply it's just a log that you use a spade bit, about 1.25 inches, I think is what it was. And you drill holes around the log in various locations. You can see it's kind of, this log's been pecked at by woodpeckers and it's been through the ringer, but geez, probably at least 10 years old or 15 years old.
Let me grab this suet.
Put a little hook. Yeah, we have some loose suet in the fridge that we've already made. And so instead of putting it into an 8x8 pan, just put it in a reusable container like this. Just dump it in.
Definitely want to mark this too.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So all we do is we take, you want to help? It helps if this is a little cold. If it's too cold, you might have to let it sit out for a bit or pop it in the microwave on a defrost, 30 seconds or so to soften it. But you just take scoops of it and you fill the holes. Whoop, like that work. You can use your hands, very easy.
Yeah, I think I'm going to use my hands.
Yeah, hands are good. You shove it in the holes and you can smear it all over. It doesn't have to be perfect. The birds love it, no matter what you do. I always love this log. Do you know why I love this log? I don't know if I ever told you this. I love this log because it has this big crack up it, and you can stuff that with suet and make the, whoop, all right, just use your hands. No edits here at Josh's Frogs. This is like the real life thing. We want you to know what you're getting into here.
You could always wear gloves too if you don't want to get it under your nails
Yeah, you
or
can wear
on
gloves.
your
But I
hands.
mean, make sure your skin's on. Right, it's like going to the salon and getting a manicure. Soaking your hands.
A wax
I like
dip.
to put it in there because you know what? The longer, I hang this right by my kitchen window, and I have two-way film on the window so the birds can't see in, but I can stand right there with my nose up to the glass watching them, and so I hang it really close, as you're seeing, which is a lot of fun.
It is. Very cool.
And so the birds take a lot longer to pick out of the crack, and you get to see them for a longer period of time. So you get a number of birds on here, and it's just amazing seeing them eating the suet up that close. The family would love it. And we did. We had a lot of good memories. I actually got if you're a bird watcher, you'll understand my excitement. If you're from Michigan, a pileated woodpecker in this actual log once, which is like,
It's huge.
So please subscribe to the Josh's Frogs YouTube channel if you want to get notifications for all the new videos. And give this video a thumbs up if you like what you see. Thanks. Bye.